it's just better.
This chair is much, much, much higher. And then I'm in the right position for the microphone and everything else. All right. Let's try it again. This is the Dan Benjamin Hour for Thursday, March 26, 2015. And I just was in the other room, in the what we call here the audio room, recording an episode of the podcast method for the first time in a few weeks, actually. More than a few weeks. How long has it been, Hattie, since I recorded?
I think it's been 2, maybe 3 weeks.
Okay, it's been 6 weeks since
It's
the
been
last day.
6
Yes. I thought you had...
Has it really been that long?
It has been that long. So I wanted to start out the show with some news and some links because there's some interesting coincidences and things that have been going on. And also there's a new version of the Periscope thing came out. Meerkat announced its funding. The HTC One and Galaxy S6 are both going on sale. And there's some moldable plastic stuff that I want to tell you about. But
I'm excited.
Before that, I wanted to see what you had found in your research, a follow-up for the percentage.
I have a link.
I know that you did, and I'm curious about it. I saw
Hold
you
on,
researching.
I'm pulling it up.
Load that up and tell me. Oh, I did a slight refresh on the 5x5 site.
Yes.
I cleaned things up a little bit, and I feel like that was it was necessary to do that because the site had been there were some things that really were bothering me about it. Overall, the layout's essentially the same. Everything's essentially the same. But I just sort of cleaned things up a little bit, made things look a little bit nicer and fresher and cleaner. And, I just, it was time. It was time to freshen things. So that was just another thing that I'm doing for you people to make things easier for you. Basically it's new fonts and that kind of stuff. New fonts, cleaned up back, got rid of those awful textured backgrounds that were kind of on the way out when I was putting them onto the site in 2009 or whenever I originally built the site. It's gone through a couple iterations since then. But yeah, it was well due for a little bit of a refresh. We're doing a whole new redesign and a whole new CMS, but that's a part of another project that I can't talk about yet. I've been advised to not speak about it. But we've got some great guests coming up for you today. My friend Daniel Bogan, a.k.a. Wafer Baby in San Francisco, who just had his wisdom teeth out.
I've gotten my wisdom teeth out.
Just the other day, right?
Well, how long ago was that?
Just 2 weeks, 2 to 3 weeks. Just
same
like
amount of time
same amount of time as
method.
2 to 3 weeks ago.
Yeah, it's not fun.
So what's the story? What's the follow-up?
Well, the reports that I have taken a look at focus more actually on race and then gender.
Okay.
And I don't like the one that I found, but it's the only one that actually has any numbers in it.
Okay, let's hear them.
So this National Center for Education Statistics, which is where you would think.
That's where I'm going to go.
Right.
If I'm looking for educational statistics, I'm going to the National
Center
for that.
This was taken in 2011. So apparently no updated statistics.
I'm fine. That's fine. And I'll go along with that. That's fine.
They did.
And by the way, I've been told that your feet look purple in this shot.
I responded to that tweet because I believe it's because I am cold.
I don't think so. So for people
my skin turns gray
who would like to tune into the video, you can. But in this particular shot, which is the room shot with the GoPro camera, apparently Hattie's feet look purple. I don't think they look purple. I think it's a lighting thing maybe for that one person. But anyway, sorry to interrupt your follow-up. Continue.
So this is the percentage of full-time instructional faculty whose race or ethnicity was known in degree-granting post-secondary institutions by academic rank selected race/ethnicity and sex of fall 2011.
Okay,
so
got it.
That's the setup.
We're on board.
And this is the chart, if you can. That's a chart.
Okay. Break it down for me.
So total. This is just total.
Okay.
Which I think is the only one that really matters to us.
That's all I care about is the total.
44% were white male.
Okay.
35% white female. And then they did not break down the genders of the following races, but 6% were black, 4% were Hispanic, and 9% were Asian or Pacific Islander.
All right. But what it sounds like is that there are overall more male college
Yes.
professors than there are female college professors.
Then they have broken it down into professors, associate professors, assistant professors, instructors, and lecturers.
Oh, okay.
Don't know the difference between those, really.
Well, my guess about that is that that's going to tell us a little bit if we want to dive into that, and
Right.
that'll be an exercise for
Okay.
the listener.
I like that.
But that would kind of tell you, are they in the higher up role, or are they in like junior adjunct assistant, whatever?
Right.
And we also, my own follow-up for this is we got Hattie in a yawn,
Yes,
and
you
we have
did.
some animated GIF videos that we'll be posting on danbenjamin.com/dbh/16. We will also,
I got my coffee
um,
today instead.
yeah,
Keep me from yawning.
yeah. We will also, and show the mug. It's an R. Stevens mug, his little cat. So we will also be posting that and making it available for download to our Patreon supporters at patreon.com/5x5. If you'd like to use that on your own site, we can provide different versions of that
Of
clip.
me
We're also
yawning.
going to be exporting that clip as a standalone video, repeating, you know how they do that, where it repeats like 2 hours of Hattie yawning or something on YouTube.
Make that.
Yeah, like that. So we'll be
I
we'll
want
be
that
getting
in
all
the
that out.
background.
Okay. So before we do guests, I want to go over some of these links because there are a handful of them. The first one is it's all in the streaming space these days. Meerkat has confirmed that it raised a round led by Greylock. Josh Ellman is joining the Meerkat board. And for those who don't know, I don't know anyone who doesn't know what Meerkat is. But Meerkat is an app that allows you to essentially stream your life, and it uses Twitter, or was using Twitter, to send out reach your social graph and send out notifications and tweets and things like that, in order to get this this amazing live stream of you walking around or sitting in your house or programming at your computer, which is what most people seem to be doing with Meerkat right now. Maybe we'll see some births, births of children.
Right.
All of this stuff. Anyway, Hollywood is into Meerkat. They're going to be trying to get this out to entertainers, to people in the music space. YouTube founder Chad Hurley, actor, singer, songwriter Jared Leto, tons of people are in this round. This is a big deal.
Wow.
A big deal. And just a few weeks ago, some dude like hanging out in Israel, writing code, and now it's a big deal. Of course, the story is never quite so simple as that, but Twitter is not so happy about this, famously cutting off Meerkat's access to the social graph and severely limiting what they're able to do. Well, why is that? Why is that? Well, they have their own answer to the live streaming question, which is Periscope. Periscope, the app, came out today. Have you tried it, Hattie?
I have not tried it. Should we Periscope?
No. I have it. I have it here on my phone. And it makes sense that Twitter didn't, just like Twitter doesn't want your third-party clients. They, they don't want us using Tweetbot. They want us using the Twitter app, which is just not good enough for me. Tweetbot is Twitter for me on the phone. But they have their own version out, Periscope. They acquired the company in January for reportedly $100 million, which is a lot of money, even to someone like me. And they have this this app that came out today. It's already what I would call a very noisy app.
Mm-hmm.
There are the default is to notify everybody, to notify you as everyone follows you. So the instant someone follows you on the app, you get a notification. And the default is not the little banner notification across the top of the screen. It's the
Modal?
big yeah.
Yeah.
So you've got to tap that, and so right away, of course, Periscope, being owned by Twitter, does have access to your full social graph. So what I had to do is instantly try and fight all of these little modal dialog boxes coming up so that I could work my way back into the Periscope app to turn those things off by default. And every time I would tap, nope, not receive, because they would have a new modal dialog.
Wow.
Because the instant that I signed into the app, all these people started to follow me because it was in the Twitter social graph. And I don't have that many Twitter followers. I have more probably than the average person. But I've got like 35,000 Twitter followers, which is not compared to people like the Merlin men of the world. That's not a lot. But it was enough that I could barely even get to the settings screen to turn that off.
Wow.
And so then I thought, okay, I'll do a Periscope. I know so there's this law that was passed in Texas that requires you can no longer hold your phone. And I think this is a good law.
I think it is too.
You can no longer hold your phone instead
or interact with it.
Or touch the phone in any way while you're driving. So we all have these little mounts and mounts it up on the dashboard. And I thought, you know what? I could, while I'm parked, I could start a Periscope by putting this thing in the little thing. And then, you know what? I'll talk and drive. It'll just be pointing at my face while I drive. And I'll drive and I'll speak. And that'll be my first Periscope ever. But it would turn out that there is no obvious way to turn the camera around and use the selfie camera. So I tweeted about this and I said, is there really no way to like reverse the camera, use the selfie? And Joanna Stern to the rescue. I love her. I think she's amazing. Do you know? We haven't met her in person, though.
No, I don't.
She's
think
up in New York. I wondered if when you were up in New York, if you had a chance to hang out with her at all.
No.
But I think she's amazing. And hi, Joanna. Hi, how are you? Is she listening? Do you think she listens to the show? She's on I want to add her to my list of people that I want to interview on the show. Number 1 right now is Katy Perry. Number 2 is Chip Kelly. Number 3 is Jay-Z. Number 4, Joanna Stern. But I don't want you to book Joanna Stern until you've booked 1, 2, and 3 first.
Oh, they're in order?
Well, that's in order of, I don't want her to feel like she's coming in fourth because she's my number 1. So you can get her first. How about this? Get her first, and she can be the gateway to Katy Perry.
I like that.
So book her on the show because I need to get her on the show. Anyway, what's cool about Periscope and what is the killer feature are what's called replays. As you know, with Meerkat, once it's done, it's done. It's gone. You can't replay it. You can save it, and I guess you could upload it somewhere. But it happens, and it's gone. What Periscope gives you is the replays. You broadcast what you're doing, sitting there eating, breakfast, whatever, on the potty. And then,
I hope not.
Yeah. And then when it's done, people can replay it, and it'll show you how many. You can browse. You can actually browse these replays, and you can watch them. You can stop your stream from being replayed if you don't want it to be, but you can leave it out there to be replayed if you choose.
Oh.
And it is, to quote this article on The Verge, a brand new little website that Nilay is working on, they say, where Meerkat in its current incarnation is a bare bones utility, Periscope is more warm and fuzzy. It introduces the world to the concept of infinite hearts. While you watch a stream, you tap to send the person recording it a heart. As soon as you tap, the heart appears on the screen for you and the rest of the audience to see, and you can tap as many times as you like. You can even double tap to send 2 hearts simultaneously. It seems silly, but the multi-heart approach serves a purpose. They let the person recording know that their audience still appreciates what they're doing even several minutes into the stream. So, I remember when I was in grade school, we used to, on Valentine's Day and St. Patrick's Day, we used to have these little stickers, and you would give other people in the class, if you felt so inclined, you could give them a heart or a little clover for St. Patrick's Day. Did you have this in your school?
We did the Valentine's boxes where you take everyone brings a shoebox,
Mm-hmm.
and you come into class that day, and you're supposed to bring like paper and glitter and whatever fun kind of stuff, and they have like stuff there too. And then you decorate the box, and you cut a little thing, a little slit in the top, and then you write your name, and then you put your box on your desk, and you go out, and everyone goes in one at a time and gets to put Valentines into everyone's boxes in the class.
Well, that's very
It's really
sweet.
fun.
That seems more fair because I remember
You
that
have to do one for everyone too.
the very cute girls and the sort of jock type guys always they would have their shirt or whatever covered with all the little stickers.
Uh-huh.
And I just wanted to get a couple. That would be enough for me.
Mhm.
And now I realize if I had been smart, I could have run a scam where I would take all the stickers and just put them on my own stickers on my own shirt. You know,
Instead of giving them out.
giving them out and hoping to receive, I could have just put them and be like, "Dude, Danny's got like 25, shamrocks or whatever." I don't know why I didn't think of that. I could have moved
That would have
up
been really smart.
a whole social level.
Because your stickers.
It was all about the stickers. All about the stickers. So anyway, that's the news. What we don't know exactly is exactly how much funding there is. I saw a tweet from the Meerkat folks last night where they said, in 15 hours, we're going to be announcing our funding. All right, great. Well, here's the TechCrunch. The rumor is that it was a $12 million round at a $52 million post-money valuation. Not bad, but not close to the $100 million that Twitter bought Periscope for. So, who knows? Do you have a prediction, Hattie? Would you care to comment and care to predict where you think the streaming world will be? Will people all be
Which
using...
one will they align with?
Will one win? Because being first, Meerkat was first, does not always mean better, does
Right.
it? I believe, having used them both now, that both of them are going to appeal to different people in different ways. Periscope is definitely warmer and fuzzier and feels like a more fleshed out product to me. It's got Twitter behind it, backing it.
Mm-hmm.
It's got the access to Twitter's social graph. These are huge advantages
Definitely.
for Periscope over Meerkat. Meerkat being kind of like now all of a sudden the underdog in a way, but maybe they'll be more agile. Maybe they'll be able to add more features, and they are very, very well liked and well known already by Hollywood, by people in the music industry, and that could come in way, way more handy to them than Twitter's support or social graph access. If you have Lady Gaga talking about something on stage somewhere,
right, that
to
doesn't
her
really
little
matter if
her
you're
little
Twitter.
monsters or whatever what they're called. I mean, that's a big deal, right?
Yes, definitely. I think Meerkat will win.
Meerkat will win.
I don't know. I think people really respect when
I'm
somebody
put you down for one vote for Meerkat.
one vote for Meerkat. I think
Patty.
people really respect that that somebody came out with an idea first in a way.
Mm-hmm.
But like you said, first doesn't
always mean better.
So,
But long story short, here I think we're too early to call it. But I will ask Wafer Baby and I will ask Sean Devine about that and see what their votes are as far as which one of those things is going to be more successful in the long run. Speaking of successful things, is there anything, Hattie, that you know of that is going to happen on April 10th? Is April 10th a special day for you for any reason that you can think of?
what is that?
Something big happening.
Saturday?
I don't think that the day matters.
I know something's happening on the 9th.
What?
On the 9th is when you're doing the episode of At the Movies with Merlin.
That's on the 9th, right? What's on the 10th? Apple Watch.
Yeah.
Okay. I was going to let it go as long as this guy was going to make you start Googling it.
No, I have so many dates in my mind that
Sure.
I was thinking of something completely
No,
different.
that's it's not a big deal for us. We will be doing something really cool now that we have like some interns here.
Yes.
We're going to be doing something fun. I think we should go to the Domain and hang out and do some video of the people and ask them are they getting the watch or what are they getting and how they're doing it, and
Yes.
talk to people. There'll be a lot of press there. We can be the press.
We could also ask like fake questions.
Oh,
Like, are you going to be using the laser pointer a
Right.
lot
Yeah.
on the watch?
Let's
and
do
they'll
that.
be like,
Let's
laser
totally do that.
pointer.
I love it.
Just throw them off.
Well, guess what else is coming out on April 10th? The Galaxy S6 from Samsung.
Forget about the Apple Watch.
Yeah, this Galaxy S6 release date is April 10th, and U.S. pre-orders are starting today or tomorrow. So if you want to get in on this, you can do it. Guess what else? The HTC M9. That thing goes on sale today also, or maybe even last night. It's going on unlocked for $649. Now, I had the HTC One M8 unlocked developer edition, and it was an excellent Android phone. So if you're into Android, the HTC has a really, really nice offering. I don't know if I would get the Galaxy S6 or the HTC One M9. If you want this serious Android experience, the stock one, you can go get one of the M9s unlocked. I think you'd be happier. And the last thing that I wanted to talk about, well, there's actually two more things really quickly. One of them is this news about a pilot. And I wanted to get Ryan in here, Ryan McBride,
Yes,
who
I
is a
believe it
pilot.
Ryan.
He's been a pilot for like 7 or 8 years. And when I told my family, I said, I think Ryan's going to take me up in a Cessna, and he's going to let me fly it around. My 3-year-old daughter came, and she jumped on my lap and hugged me and put her head on my chest and said, "Daddy, please don't go.
Oh.
Please don't go. I don't want you to go in a little plane." And my wife said, "I'd prefer you to not go in a plane because those are the ones that crash."
Just like Harrison Ford's.
Yeah, his wasn't a Cessna,
I
but
know, but it was a small plane.
it was a small plane.
Wasn't like
And she said, "Prefer you to." How long is he? Well, tell me how long he's been a pilot. And so I asked him on Twitter how long he's been a pilot. He said about 8 years. He said, "I'm a newbie." So that wasn't. I haven't relayed that
right
to my family yet.
I'm going up with a newbie.
Yeah, title. And she said, "I'd rather you go up in a helicopter than in one of those Cessnas." I said, "But the helicopters crash constantly. The helicopters are constantly crashing." And she said, "No, the planes are what crashes." I said, "Well, if you're up in a Cessna, can't you just glide it down? They're like gliders. They just glide down. Whereas that helicopter blade stops spinning. You're history. You're toast. You can't go and start that thing spinning again. Whereas you could glide down."
Right, you have a bit of a backup plan.
And you've seen this in movies where if the helicopter's up there and you want to bring that thing down, you shoot. You can bring a helicopter down with a handgun. I've seen. You shoot it in the right place and the thing is down. Whereas a Cessna,
or if you just bend one little arm of it.
yeah, oh yeah, that's all it takes. And you saw what happened to the one in Aliens.
Yeah,
That ship, the drop ship in Aliens.
that did not go well
No,
for them.
run out of the way of that thing. Well, some sad news. The pilot, there was this Germanwings plane crash that happened in France, and apparently it was an intentional. It was an intentional grounding type situation. The co-pilot waited for the pilot to go out of the room, out of the cockpit, and then crashed the plane intentionally.
Wow.
Yeah. So it's pretty. Yeah, you can hear the pilot trying to get back into the room, and banging on the door, and not having any luck getting back in, and there's just silence in the cockpit. So he did it intentionally, and they also said that there was no possible way for him to have done that by accident. No possible way for him to have done it by accident. So that's the bummer news. And then the last thing I wanted to talk about, which is going to lead me perfectly into the Wafer Baby conversation, Daniel Bogan conversation, because he likes toys, is this thing called Plastimake. Have you heard of Plastimake?
I have not.
Moldable plastic that can do just about anything, says Boing Boing. It is a moldable, reusable plastic that can be shaped into anything. The problem is it's all sold out. They say that it's like Sugru repair putty, but that dries to a rubbery material. Plastimake cools into hard and essentially unbreakable plastic. But they've been overwhelmed by orders, and new stock won't be available until May of 2015. So that's not that long. But they are accepting back orders. If you're watching at home, look at what some of these people have made. And there are tons and tons of galleries of this stuff that people have made. Everything from little repairs to things to sculptures. They've made costumes. I'm looking at one that's Spider-Man whipping out a web. This guy has made these
Wow.
horrible Halloween fangs that are awesome. You can make little hooks to hang stuff. This person made a beautiful
Aw.
little flower,
A little rose.
an elephant. So I want to get some of this stuff, but so I'll be pre-ordering it. And as soon as we get it, we'll make sure to bring it onto the show. But if you want to check out these galleries, this will be in the show notes. Show notes can be found at two places, danbenjamin.com/dbh/16. That's the best place to go. But look at all these galleries of the stuff that people have made. It's just crazy. They made rabbit antlers. You can make your own jackalope. Why not? This stuff, look at the sushi
I
that they
love
made.
the sushi. I like the little cat.
Really
too.
cool. All right, that's all. That's the big news from today that I cared about. Let me do a spot, and then we'll get Wafer Baby on here. I'm going to tell you guys about Lynda. Lynda.com/DBH. Hattie, have they said if they've been getting a response from the listeners on the show yet? We have to have a call and find
We
out
need
how
to have
we're
a call
doing.
and find out, yes.
Because I think we have this is the best show on the internet. I feel like it's the most engaged listeners around. Lynda.com/DBH. Lynda has over 3,000 on-demand video courses that help you strengthen your business, technology, and creative skills. They're giving you a free 10-day trial if you go to that URL, lynda.com/DBH. Courses, I'm still working through the Adobe Premiere courses, but they have so many really, really outstanding courses. Depending on what you want to learn there, they've got a course for it. And as Andy Anako pointed out on the Anako Almanac earlier in the week, if you want to just, or last week actually, if you want to just dive in and learn a whole technology, you can do that. But if you're looking for like a specific answer to something, like how do I do a transition between these two shots in this application? Like little answers like that are there. And you can jump in and get right to the bottom of it. You don't have to spend hours and hours learning fundamentals of an application when you're an advanced user, but you just can't remember how to do one little thing. Tons of really great courses taught by experts. My go-to example of that is like they have a course on getting things done. Well, guess who brings that course? It's David Allen himself, like doing the course. Stuff like that. So cool. And you download these to your iOS or Android device. You can watch them, take them on the go. What a great service. Go check them out. Lynda, Lynda, lynda.com/DBH. Thanks very much to them for making the show possible. I put in a marker for Maggie.
Perfect.
Is that okay?
Yep.
All right. So let's try and get Daniel Bogan. When the last time we saw Daniel Bogan, he was, he's asking in there, he says, did you guys fall asleep? Did I get the time wrong? He's up early. I told him don't wake up that early. So I would feel bad if he did. Let's see if he's around anywhere.
Hello.
Listen to you. You're here. Welcome to the
Hi.
show. Daniel Bogan, a.k.a. Wafer Baby.
That is me.
And I have a picture of you up on the screen.
That's
Hattie found this
terrifying.
picture. It's the picture that you used for your Twitter avatar for a long time.
I liked it. I thought it was good.
Oh, the half face one.
The one where you are sort of in
You're in a
dark
red hoodie.
dark shroud,
Oh,
red
yeah.
hoodie, and
Yeah. That's an old one.
and you're in San Francisco now.
I am in San
What's that? You've been there now.
Francisco. It's very nice.
You do have an accent. People may be
I do.
hearing the accent, and the accent is an Australian accent. You used to live in Sydney, Australia.
That's true. Yep. And we've been here for, I guess, 5 years now. Almost 5 years. It'll be 5 years in April. So
5 years in April. Are you tell me if this is too personal. Are you legally here, or are you
yeah, no. I mean, we got our green cards last month. So totally above board.
So a green card, forgive me if I don't understand the ins and outs of immigration and attaining citizenship. A green card is something that essentially establishes you as you're essentially permanently here.
Right. So you're a permanent resident, but you're not a citizen. So we
Okay.
can do everything except vote, basically. So,
Okay.
yeah.
And you couldn't just be suddenly deported if you
No.
know, stole a Hershey bar or something. You wouldn't be sent back to
Well, maybe. But
your... So don't steal
no,
anything.
no.
So are you on the way to become a citizen? Is that the next step? Are you content with the green card? Do you have to give up Australian citizenship if you become United
I don't
States
think
citizen?
you have to. I don't think you have to give it up. And there's like a waiting period. So you have, I think it's 5 years before you can actually even apply to be a citizen. So we'll kind of cross that bridge.
They just want to make sure you're the real deal. You're here to stay.
Oh yeah, exactly.
So before you came, before you came here, you were a web designer and developer, and you did a lot of freelance work and a whole lot of other things for a long time. And I came
Yeah.
to know you as Wafer Baby, which used to be waferbaby.com. And I believe when I first met you, you were doing those, or when I first started to kind of become aware of you, you were doing those really cool pixel
Oh yeah.
comic art
Yep.
that you used to do. What was that called again? Because I'm having
It's called
trouble.
Pixel. So actually, I just recently posted them again on wavebaby.com because they weren't online really anywhere. So yeah, they were they were kind of ridiculous actually. I would so you remember ResEdit?
Yeah, sure do.
I would hack a version of ResEdit to change the CICN editor so that I could do bigger icons. And I would draw each frame in this hacked CICN editor and then take a screen grab and then paste it into an animated GIF editor and do each frame like that, which would take me about 2 weeks, I think. So
That's
it's kind of,
crazy. I'm
yeah, it was
watching.
insane.
I'm watching some of this these online. So if you're watching at home, you'll be able to see them. But I mean, this is just there were not a whole lot of tools to do this kind of thing. But you picked some
No,
of the most difficult tools
yeah,
in the whole world to
I'm very good at doing that for
do
some
this
reason.
with.
Yeah, and then I would export it as a QuickTime. And actually, one of my friends, Kurt, would do audio for me. So I'd send him that QuickTime. He'd do the audio to kind of sync it up, and yeah, then I would post it.
See, I think this is actually much more timely today even than it was back then. Like if you came out with these weird little guys today and did this stuff today, it would just be super super popular. What was it like back then coming out with it back then? I mean, it's such a unique style and such a fun thing and such a neat way to do it.
I mean, people definitely seem to enjoy it. I don't know. I don't know if it was massively popular. I mean, I think partly I just got tired of doing it because it just took so long that I ended up stopping after. I think I did like 30 episodes maybe. So
It's a lot of
yeah,
work. It's a lot of work,
it's
but it's a lot of
definitely a lot of
fun.
work.
A lot of fun.
Oh
So
no,
that,
I enjoyed it. I mean, the other thing is there wasn't really a coherent story. Like I wasn't really. I was just kind of like, let's see what this does. So I would kind of make it up on the spot.
well, I like it, and that's how I came to know you. So then I think that we started talking somehow
Yeah.
around that time, and then we just sort of became friends. You were in Sydney, and I
Yep.
was down in Florida,
Yeah.
and
That's right.
we used to. You would be starting your day when I would be ending my day, and at the end
Mhm.
of the day, this is before I had kids or anything like that. And I was working for the man. At the end of the day, I would launch Halo on my Mac, and
Oh yeah.
you would launch Halo on your Mac, and I think you
Yep.
guys had a server because you
I
were,
think it was my brother as well. So it was you, me, and my brother playing
yeah,
Halo 1 on the Mac.
yeah. And it was so
That's
much
awesome.
fun. It was so
Yep.
much fun.
It
Like
was a lot of fun.
and you, what was fun about you is that you weren't always about destroying the other people. Sometimes we would experiment with the world. And what's the name of the car? The sort
The
of
Warthog.
the
Yeah.
Warthog.
Yeah.
I just remember one time you flipped the Warthog around and we were just taking turns sort of grenade launching it around.
Yep.
Do you remember that?
I get it. Yeah, I do. It was awesome.
Yeah, as if we could get it to the top of the limit of the ceiling of the world.
Yep.
Little things like that. Like to me, there is still like that. I can vividly remember what the terrain looked like in that little part of the world where we were doing this, and like in my mind, I realized very much that that was a video game. But like we did that was an activity that you and I like we did that with the Warthog. You know
Yeah.
what I'm saying? Like that was a
Yeah.
thing we did. It was real
It was real.
in a strange way.
Yeah.
So then you got bored of that and you
Yeah.
said, screw that. I'm coming to America. And
Yeah. So I was
what
actually,
happened?
I was working for Flickr from Sydney for the first couple of years. I guess 2.5, 3 years.
Hmm.
And so yeah, again, it was the kind of thing where I would start my day at what was basically 3 p.m. here.
Yeah.
So I would have like a crossover of 2 hours, and then people would be like, "Okay, I'm going home now." So it was basically me responsible for this giant website with millions of users for a couple of hours. It's
That's
kind of
crazy.
terrifying.
That's
Yeah,
crazy. So what were you,
and
I mean, you were
I would be
doing
deploying
support?
the site, and no, I mean, I was launching features, and I was
Right.
adding stuff and fixing bugs and deploying this gigantic site on my own with no one else around.
It's nerve-wracking.
Slightly terrifying, yeah. So, and then they were kind of like, well, maybe you should move over here. So we did.
So you moved there, and now you're in of all places, you're in San Francisco,
Yeah.
enjoying the San Franciscan life. But then after how many years were you at Flickr? Because you've recently
Almost
left.
8.
8
Yeah.
years.
Almost 8.
Wow.
In today's world, 8 years
I think that's
at
like
a
50 years.
at a single
Yeah.
company. I mean,
It's a long time.
that is a long
It's
time.
like dog lives.
It is. Yeah, exactly.
Title. So
Yeah.
where are you now?
I'm about to start at Zendesk.
Zendesk, the wonderful
Yeah.
support company that makes it super easy for you to connect with. They are an old sponsor of ours, right, Hattie? They used
think a
this
long
a
time
long
ago,
time
yes.
ago.
Oh, that's awesome. Yeah.
So
So
you
I
can-
start that next week. So.
You can integrate with all different kinds of services with them. So like if you're using an app and you're like, oh, I want to connect with my users, integration. You want to overlay that. You do a site and you're like, here's support. So what are you going to be doing there? Are you writing code, PHP?
Yeah. So working on the no, it's actually Ruby there. So I'm working on the API team. So
That's very cool.
yeah.
Because
Very
you write all kinds of code. I used to come to you with my problems and be like, I can't make this work.
Yeah. So Flickr's PHP. So I was doing PHP for 8 years, and
Yeah.
Ruby. Ruby's the thing I do on the side. So that was always my thing.
So it's
Well, the thing is-
full time doing Ruby now.
Yeah. No, it's kind of weird.
It's exciting for you.
Very
Is it
exciting.
Rails or Ruby or Sinatra or something, or can you not
It's-
say?
I don't know if I'm allowed to say, but I guess yeah, it's definitely there's
Ruby
definitely
is
some
involved.
Rails in there.
Ruby
Yeah,
Some Rails in there.
there is
bit.
some Rails. Yeah.
That's pretty cool. So
It's
you're going there, and I wanted to have you on the show, and you said, well, I can't be on the show because I had my wisdom teeth taken out.
yeah. That was not so fun.
What was that like? Can you describe the process?
I remember sitting in the chair, and kind of the dentist is like, well, now we're going to slowly kind of give you the medicines, make you sleepy, and that's pretty much all I remember.
And you woke up. Did you have all 4 of them out at
All
once?
four at once,
Mm.
yeah.
How old? Can I ask you how old you are? Is that personal?
I'm 38.
As a 38-year-old,
hmm
it seems like you would have if you were going to get them out, that you would have done that already.
I know, it's funny, actually. I talked to a lot of Americans, and that most people seem to get them out when they're like 17, 18, somewhere around there.
Right.
And whereas back home, I don't know. I guess you only get them out if there's a problem. And I
Right.
never had a problem with them until I went to the dentist, I guess, 5-6 months ago. And he's like, well, one of them has a cavity and one of them's kind of caving in at the back and we can't really reach them. It's not a huge problem, but like it's better to get them done while you're still vaguely young, I
Right.
guess,
Right.
rather than like in your 60s where it'll be a problem. So
Right.
we booked it in.
Hattie, who I know that you've met, she had hers out in her early 20s,
Mhm.
and that seemed late to me.
It was
Yeah.
it was late compared to all of my friends, so I thought that
Right,
was
yeah.
interesting.
Yeah, I had mine all 4 taken out in high school, and now they have all kinds of great. They take them out. It's really great. Like
You get to keep them.
you get to keep them a
I
day or
got to
two
keep
later.
mine,
Do you
yeah.
have them like now? Could you send a picture over of them? Are they intact or are they broken up into pieces?
One of them seems to be missing a pit, which is kind of terrifying because I guess it's still in my mouth.
No,
maybe.
they took that out.
No, it's funny though. They said that there's potential for some bits not to come out and that it'll kind of grow over it and it's usually fine.
Ooh.
So-
That's
Uh,
scary.
Yep.
Mine are. I think I have 2 that are intact, and then the other 2 are kind of in pieces because they
Yeah, my
needed. They had to do precision work around like a nerve or something in mine. So
Yeah, my brother described his as one of his teeth. They had to use a drill to kind of basically tear it apart. So
Yeah. All Hatties were ripped out.
well, I have 2 that are intact, but the other 2 are all.
But, I mean,
in,
they're all
like,
cut
little
up and
pieces.
gross.
Yeah.
yeah, they're kind of gross. Teeth are gross.
Teeth
And
are
the
really
wisdom
gross.
teeth are unbelievably unattractive. They don't look like
Mine look great. Mine were awesome.
Yeah.
teeth.
Mine are like perfect molars. Beautiful.
Fully formed.
Fully formed, perfect.
I don't like their weird legs that they have
No,
on them.
mine
that
were
are
all-
They have
pointy.
legs. It's true.
Mine were fine. Blessed with beautiful wisdom teeth that still had to come out.
Wow.
So
Holy shit.
what's next for you? What's going on with you? What's the next story? You're starting this new job.
Yeah.
You're gonna be going on tour with your band?
No.
No.
Too old.
Too old to go on tour. I remember at one time, back in the early days of video chatting,
hmm
you had some game on some kind of handheld Nintendo device.
Yeah.
And it was like, it always sort of like underwater creatures that were sort of floating around and making
Oh,
musical sounds or
I do
something.
remember this. I cannot think of it. It was a Japanese game and it
Yeah.
was awesome, but I cannot think of the name of it. And it had these different modes where you could like basically drag these little underwater creatures around to make sounds.
Yeah.
Oh, what was it called? Yeah, it was awesome. And I remember showing that to you.
Yeah. You did like a little demo of that.
Yeah,
of that
exactly.
thing. And then there was that other game that we played against. Could we have played it against each other? No. You showed me this game it was like a war game where you would move. You had turns. That's what I'm thinking of. You had turns that you would play, and you would move your guys a certain number of moves per turn, and you could arm them, and then you would hit go, and then you would watch the computer play against you. Do you know what I'm talking about? Do you remember
That
this
sounds
game?
like lots of games. I'm not sure.
But this was only one game that you showed me. Which
Yeah.
one? Which one? I can't believe you don't remember it.
I can't remember.
All right.
I'm
Well,
old.
if I remember it, it had a wonderful typeface, wonderful font that they used, that we used to talk about all the time, the 8-bit stuff.
Okay.
Have you ever played Minecraft?
Of course.
Do you like that game?
I do. Yeah.
Do you find that you get easily sucked into it and have no social life of any kind when you're playing it?
Yes, definitely happens.
Yeah.
And one of my friends runs a server, and we would build these. We would cheat, and we would turn on the development mode kind of
Oh,
thing
yeah.
that lets you basically build whatever you want. But we would build huge, ridiculous things. Just the scale of which was insane, because we had
Unlimited resources.
Exactly.
Are those things still out there? Could the listeners join the server and go look?
I don't know. I think it moved to that because they did that whole hosted Minecraft world thing. I think we moved it to that. I'm not sure. I haven't played it in a little bit. So
All right. Well, let me know, because I want to
Yeah.
go exploring again, spelunking.
We have a 5x5 one, don't we?
I think Minecraft.5x5.tv still
I think it is. I think it's still
exists. So go Minecrafters and
Send
see
you out.
there. I believe that there's a large John Syracuse avatar out there, like
Wow.
life-size avatar. I think there's a Hattie bird,
There's a
that
giant
exists.
yellow bird.
something they did for Merlin. We need to go out and we need to go exploring. So go to minecraft.5x5.tv and see what's out there. So Daniel, I appreciate your being here. Any plans to relaunch Pixel or something using more modern tools and anything good like that? Anything? you can-
No, not animation. I mean, I still love animation. It's just so time consuming.
But there are better
Yeah.
tools now.
That is true.
I have
Yeah.
one.
I mean, I think about it in the back of my mind. But
One last question for you. I'm going to give you not really a hard time about it,
yeah.
but you have done so much with waferbaby.com over the years. And now it's just a white page,
Yep.
and it doesn't have any of the archives link is actually grayed out. And you
Yep.
have so much great writing there, so many really cool things that you've done over the years. And where is it?
I know. I'm very good at the whole self-destruction thing.
Is it
I guess.
gone? Like, is it really gone?
It's archive.org has it all. At least has all the writing. I actually thought about kind of doing a thing where I would bring the content back, but I started reading through it, and it was terrible.
Just not good. Well, where
I just couldn't do it.
the good content these days is over at The Setup, which are
That
these
is true, yeah.
really great interviews that you do. And Hattie I think she owes you one from like 2 years
Yeah.
ago.
This email I'll show Dan. I'll show the listeners.
She's turning
This
She's
email
turning her computer around.
Has
and
been
showing me
open
an
on my
email.
computer since you sent it to me, and I keep changing it.
She's updating it, and because like she originally would have like an answer. So for people who don't know, The Setup is a series of interviews. You describe it as, what do people use to get stuff done? And the domain, which Heidi, could you please add this to our
Yes.
show notes? Show notes are at danbenjamin.com/dbh/16 or 5x5.tv/dbh/16. Usesthis.com is where you do these really, really great interviews, and you also you get some really big names doing this. Like Dylan Markey's here, wrote The Robot Chicken. You
Yep.
get, you interviewed me. You get so many really, really cool people. Paul Davey, Look at all these people as I scroll through this site who've contributed. And what you do is you go and you ask them all relatively similar questions. Who are you? What do you do? What hardware do you use? What software? What would be your dream setup? And I think Hattie answered it, and she I think in the question, like, what hardware do you use? She's like, I use a Mac. And I'm like, I think he wants more.
Right. You're like, he wants much more in depth.
He wants
than that.
like
And I was
individual
okay.
he doesn't just want that you use.
So I started breaking it down, and I'm halfway through the things that I use every day, and there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, like 15 lines already.
Right. So like what she's gonna he's gonna want to know that you use like a Mac Mini mid 2011. You know, like it's not
With
not
a
just
rated drive.
yeah, all of that stuff with that. How much RAM is in it? What kind of RAM? Is it
So I'm
DDR3
getting
RAM?
technical,
You know.
and you're helping me with
Yeah. So that's what's taking her so long, Daniel.
Yeah, yeah. No, I mean, and she's not the only one that takes. I mean, some of them have been. In fact, Merlin owes me one, and we started talking about that one about 4 years ago.
Okay.
Okay,
So Hattie,
so-
don't feel too bad.
that. Okay.
Exactly.
But what a great site. What inspired you to make this site?
I cannot remember actually. I used to actually originally host them on Wafer Baby back when I was still doing stuff on there, and so I started with my friend Alex, who at the time was at Twitter. He was kind of their API guy, and I can't remember why I started it, but it kind of took off from there, and I ended up moving it to its own site, and here we are.
Here we are. So I love this. I wish you continued success. It's on the deck.
It is on the deck, yeah.
So you're getting rich pretty quick, which is awesome. But I love it. We need to update mine though. It's so out of date. It's not
I
even
know, and
funny.
people ask me about this. It's like my problem is I'm so OCD that I would want to redo all of them, and there's like 550 something of them now.
Right. And the way that you have them is they're in order of appearance. And
Yeah.
I don't see I know that I could use Google to search, but I would like for you to add search.
You're not the only one that's asked me that.
To the
It's
site.
funny actually. My new boss at Zendesk was like, "You don't have search on the setup,"
Hmm.
and I was like, "Yeah, I should fix that."
You can do
I am
search.
actually working on it, so yeah.
And if you've worked at like Flickr and these other places, you could do it. But like I know for sure that things have changed.
Oh yeah, of course. I mean, they change the second I publish it most times. That's
Yeah.
the thing. That's the problem.
Can
In
I-
fact, what I'll actually find is I'll do an interview with someone, and in the time between when I post it and when they write it, things will actually change.
Has
So, like,
already
they'll be
changed.
talking about, oh, I can't wait for the new iPhone 6, and then in between the iPhone 6 comes out, and I have to actually go back to them and say, can you update this?
So you talked to me on October 6th, 2009. I had just probably
Wow.
started 5x5
Yeah.
or was no, I didn't. I hadn't yet started it.
Wow.
So listen to
Aw.
this. Who are you and what do you do? I'm Dan Benjamin. I write, broadcast, and create websites. I'm the author of HiveLogic, screencaster at PeepCode, the founder of Playgrounder, co-creator of Corked, and a host of a number of podcasts. There
Aw.
was no 5x5 yet.
Wow.
I was using an Intel Core 2 Duo 2.53 gigahertz unibody 15-inch MacBook Pro with a 500 gig 5400 RPM drive. And that was an upgrade, apparently. I had a 24-inch LED cinema, probably the one I still have in the other room. I had a Logitech mouse. Thrilling. I was using the Shure SM7B dynamic mic.
You're
and
on
then-
this?
That mic. The
Probably
same mic,
this exact
that mic that you're talking into right now.
Hello,
and,
Ghost of Dan.
Yeah. It's thrilling stuff. Well, anyway, I recommend everybody go and check this site out. And please don't take this one away. Daniel, don't take it away.
No.
All
I
right.
promise I won't.
Okay. Well, thanks for being here. Good luck with your new job. I hope you
Thank you.
continue your recovery of your mouth. And
That'd be nice.
we'll talk again soon. Take care of yourself.
Thank you very much.
Bye.
Bye.
He sounded good for
Yeah.
someone in San Francisco.
Did you see Sean Devine's setup? I saw you retweeted it. I liked it.
I did see
I like
his
it a
setup.
lot.
Well, on Twitter, I'll put this up into the live stream so people can see it. He is barely known. Oh, and we forgot to tell people Daniel Bogan is Wafer Baby.
I think they got it on the chalkboard.
Yeah, he's Wafer Baby, and that's where you can go to learn more about him and interact with him. Barely Known. BARELYKNOWN is how you spell that. And I'll show you. This is his setup here. He's got a paint bucket, like a Home Depot style blue paint bucket, upside down.
On top of a cardboard box.
On top of a cardboard box, in front of his MacBook, with the very cool Samson Meteor mic, which is a really cool USB
We have that
mic.
one
We do
here,
have that one.
But you dropped it or kicked it
I
or
did
kicked it or threw it across the room.
No, I didn't throw it. It dropped, and it's not working
It got
right anymore.
thrown.
Well, I was angry. And so he's using this excellent mic. But I think this must be his standing desk setup.
This is very familiar to us.
Yeah.
Because
We've been in
is
this
how
situation
we do
a
it
lot.
here
Yeah.
sometimes.
Well, before I call him, let me tell you about the 5-4 Club, because these folks are amazing. And Hattie, could you go fetch my bomber jacket?
Oh, yeah. Let me grab it.
And I think I realized today as I was putting it on that I still have the tag in it. I've been walking around wearing this jacket for like 2 weeks with a tag. And I understand that that's a style, but that's not the style that I was going for. So you'll notice when Hattie brings it in, I've been walking around with the tag on. But here comes Hattie with the bomber jacket. And I feel like it's only right that I wear this during the spot for 5-4 Club. So yeah, this is a cool. I just want to show some things. In fact, I'll show you how. So here's the tag I've been wearing it with. But look at this. This is just one of the items that they send you every month. They send you. Look at this. Every month they send you a $120 worth of clothes.
Put it on.
And you usually it's take it off. In my case, but But you basically fill out a little profile, and the profile tells them kind of like what type of clothing you like, what kind of clothing you want to wear, and this particular thing I think fits into the like, I guess, business casual, dress to impress. This is look at this jacket. This wasn't the only thing they sent me. That's the thing that gets me.
That was one of many things.
If I went to a store and I saw this jacket hanging on the shelf, this is a really cool.
That alone would be $120.
I mean, you're right. Alone, this is going to be a $120 jacket, but I didn't just get this. I get a whole bunch of other stuff. You don't pay $120. You pay $60 a month. And if it's the wrong, this is just the size they sent. It fits perfect. But if it's the wrong size, they give you an exchange. No big deal. And we've got a promo here that gets you $20 off your first box when you sign up for this, because the clothes come every month. $120 worth of clothes for $60 every month. You get new clothes that just show up. The clothes just show up. It's genius. Because I hate shopping. Get54, it's spelled out FIVEFOUR, get54.com, and you're going to use the code DAN20OFF, DAN20OFF, to get $20 off. There's one more thing I need to mention. Members, once you sign up, you get your own referral code, and it will get you $15 off your package for every friend that you refer. So if you refer a friend or a couple friends every month, you could wind up paying nothing and getting credits and getting your look at this cool bomber jacket.
Share the word. Spread the word.
I love this. So thanks very much, 5-4 Club. Get54.com, Dan20 off. It's a nice looking jacket, wouldn't you say?
I like it. It looks warm. I'm cold right now. So
Well, would you like to wear it?
Sure.
All right. Well, I get we can trade jackets here while I get Sean
jacket.
on the not trade, but we can you can have my jacket. Let me get Sean on the phone here.
That's probably why my feet look purple.
Because you're so cold. You can cut the tag out if you want.
Hello, hello.
Oh, hi, Sean.
I had to pause you on my live stream here. How you doing, Dan?
I'm doing good. So we've been talking about what your how to pronounce your name.
Barely Known or Sean Divine?
Divine. It is Divine.
It is Divine.
Divine.
Yes.
See, that's
We
the
were
cool.
right.
That's the cool name. Not Divine.
No, Divine.
It's Divine.
Right.
Now, Sean,
Simply
do you hear Hattie? Do you hear his voice?
Yes.
What a good radio voice. he has.
Definitely.
Look at the lining matches your the inside of your shirt perfectly.
Oh my gosh. Well, one's vertical and one's horizontal.
Right. But I mean, it's the same thing in there.
I don't know which way to go. There.
Yeah, that way. It's the same thing. Okay, listen, Sean. Sean is the host of an amazing show. It is the Ruby on Rails podcast, which happens to live on 5x5.
For 47 episodes now.
47 episodes. And that's pretty impressive. You've been hosting this show, running it and making it your own. It didn't begin with you, though.
It didn't. No, it started back, I think maybe about 8 years ago with, I don't really know him, but Jeffrey Grossenbeck, I think is his name.
Yep. He was my
Grossenbach?
boss for a little while.
Is that right?
Mm-hmm.
Where was that?
At Peep Code, when he used to do the Peep Code screencasting company.
Right. So he did the podcast for a while. I'm not sure how many years, but maybe 3 or 4. And then it kind of went dormant for a while and people would ask about it now and then. It was still featured on the Ruby on Rails website.
Yep.
And he asked eventually if someone would take it over. And I agreed.
So 186 episodes in, and you've been doing it for quite a while, taking over the show and doing really, really great interviews. You get people who come in to talk about, writing code and making software, but you also invite people who are at companies. You get the CEO of Thinkful on there, for example. And it's really great what you've been doing with this show. And I think it's not so much like this is, if you want to learn Rails, you go here. That's not what you're doing, right? I mean, it's more about the Rails community and the development community as a whole, right?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, 47 episodes, I'd get pretty bored if it was just about learning Rails. And so I think that I talk generally about one of a couple things, either what I'm doing right now. So, for example, in December and January, I covered Ember a lot.
Mm-hmm.
Not because Ember has much to do with Rails, but it's my show. So I guess if I wanted to talk about Ember, I could. And a lot of people in the Rails community are interested in Ember. So it turned out that was probably the most successful, sort of interesting, popular run that the show's had. And then sometimes it's just about the people that I know. And if I know someone that's interesting that I think would be good on a podcast or on the radio, I just have them on. And maybe 20% of the episode intersects with Rails and 80% doesn't, but it's fun anyhow.
Well, I'm glad to have you running this show and steering the ship because it's a tricky thing to do an interview show on a week by week basis, especially when your focus is something as specific as something like Rails or things associated with Rails. It's one thing to say, I have all of tech and geek in my disposal. Even then, there's still, it can be tough to find a compelling guest or an interesting guest, and you're doing a great job over there, I think.
Yeah, I don't think that I knew what I was getting into on that
Really?
point when I started. Yeah. In that, well, I'll tell you the story about why I wanted to do it in the first place. So I was going for a run. And I don't know what made me think of this, but I was thinking about what a good sign-off would be if I ever had a radio show. Because since I've been a kid, I never had a radio show. Maybe was involved in a couple things in college related, but nothing really serious. But because my voice sounds like this, a lot of people have always said you should have a radio show.
Right, like you're not doing a voice. This is your regular voice. We've spoken on the phone.
No, that's what I sound like.
This is just what you see. You just were born with the kind of cool, I could be on the radio voice.
Yeah, so I've heard that for a long time, and I run, especially when the weather's nice, and was thinking about what a good sign-off would be. And God knows why that was going through my mind. But so I decided that I'm barely known on Twitter would be a really funny thing to have as your sign-off on a radio show. And that sort of set in motion both a broad-based changing of my identity online to barely known. And then eventually when I saw Jeffrey tweet that he was looking for someone to take it over, I said, oh, okay, I could do this. And then I can fulfill the
dream
destiny that is barely known. Yeah.
But you are not, despite the fact that you code in Rails and are known now in the community and doing a show about Rails, You're actually like some kind of railroad tycoon or something. You come from a completely different industry, and you transitioned into this. This wasn't, you didn't go to school for that. You're kind of like me, like you are very much self-taught in that way in what you're doing. Tell me, how did you find your way into software development and Rails while also running a huge railroad operation?
Well, it's not quite railroad, but it is transportation. So I went to school back whenever for finance and entrepreneurial studies, if you can believe that. I am one credit short of my degree. I've got a funny story about how that ever
Why don't
happened.
you just go and fit? Like, people will say that, and I'm like, just go take the class or whatever.
No, so I didn't know that was the case. So here's why. So about, let me think, maybe 12 years after I got out of school.
Yeah.
So it was 1999. So yeah, about 2011, I was sitting at my desk. I had recently started a new company that I'll talk about in a minute. And I'm sitting at my desk next to my business partner, and my phone rings. So I answer it, and it says, the person says, "Hey, I'm Jill from Babson College. College, is Sean there?" And I said, "Yeah." So, well, we just got a background check. We were signing a contract at the time with a big company, and they did background checks on us because of the nature of the deal. So they said, "We just got this background check call to verify that you had your degree, but we can't seem to find your last credit." And you know,
Oops.
did we misplace something, or we tried to contact the professor that this one last credit should have been from, but they're no longer here, and we figured you'd have it. And I said, "Geez, I don't know. I thought that I graduated." I'm like, I walked down the aisle. I did the
Oh
whole
man.
Oh, wow.
yeah. So they said, "Well, I don't know. I mean, what do you want us to tell them?" And I said, "I don't know. Tell them I'm one credit short." And I mean, if that's what you've got on record. And then it kind of became a thing. Like, I had to make this choice. Did I want to like say that I was, that I didn't have my college degree, or did I want to, go through the hassle of figuring out how to close this gap? And I don't know. You don't know me that well, but the idea of being one credit short and not knowing it appeals to me. Like that's a fun thing. Like I didn't plan it that well, but or I didn't plan it to be that way. But if I had planned it, I may have planned it that way.
Well, you're far enough along though in your career and life that the one credit doesn't seem to be holding you back in a big
No,
way.
I don't think so. And I think people like the story because I definitely
I was
had
just about to say.
I had kind of like a slingshot career, so I went pretty far pretty fast.
Yeah.
And I kind of had the career that someone that didn't get a college degree would have had. That like that archetype. So I kind of fit that.
Mm-hmm.
Except I didn't. I was a kid that just went to a 4-year college. Now I didn't graduate in 3 years, but I left after 3 years thinking I had graduated. But I don't know. I decided that I like the story better this way, so I'm keeping it this way.
Yeah, I mean, I guess I can respect that. It is an interesting story. So you did have one business, and then you found your way into doing Rails development and software development, and now you're hosting a show. What's it been like, hosting a show? Because I do another show called The Podcast Method where I talk a lot about podcasting and the challenges of it. What have been the challenges that you found in doing it? Obviously, you've got a great voice. You're fun to talk to, but there's a lot more to it than that, right?
Yeah. I think the grind is the hardest part. In other words, any one episode is super easy. Right. So pick any random week out of the year and think about that episode. And whether it was the easiest, most interesting guest or the least interesting guest on the continuum, that's not that hard compared to doing 47 in a row, which is hard. So, I think that's when people ask about podcasting. I think that the thing they most underestimate is how difficult it is to keep going. Beyond the first handful or two of episodes.
Right. I mean, and that's a challenge, especially because you're not doing this full time. It's not your primary source of income, or I would guess not even your secondary source of income. It's not, or even a source of income at all for many people doing a show, right? And it's something that takes a lot of time to do. How do you fit it in? How do you keep going? Where do you find the inspiration to continue on, week after week after week?
I'm pretty stubborn, so I would not like the idea of quitting something.
Yeah.
And I enjoy it most of the time. So if, for 4 weeks. Of the 4 weeks, I probably enjoy doing the show 3 out of 4 weeks.
Mm-hmm.
In the fourth, maybe I would enjoy less because, maybe I didn't have that much time that week, or
Right.
maybe I had trouble getting the guest arranged,
Right.
or, maybe my kids were sick or whatever the heck it is. But and I've got 2 more kids in the way, by the way. So that's
2 more on the way. Once or one after the other?
No, yeah, that'd be a funny thing to know in advance. No, twins.
Just you're a planner.
You're
You like
planning
to you want to plan ahead. You want to schedule things.
No, twins. We recently found out we're having twins.
That's
so.
great. Now here's a question for you.
Mm-hmm.
Do you know if they are identical twins already, or do you not find that out until they come out?
No, I do know, and they are not identical twins.
How do they determine that?
So you can. There are multiple ways you could tell. So you could tell from elements of the what do you call it? The sonogram.
Mm-hmm.
Now, in our case, we knew they weren't because it was the in vitro, so we were positive that they weren't. But even, not that you couldn't have in vitro twins, because you could, but in our case, we knew we didn't. But no, I think that I'm pretty sure that you'd know. Well, put it this way. I think that there are ways to know for sure that they're fraternal. I think that you wouldn't know for sure they're identical. Yeah, that's right. So anyways, that's coming. So I've got 3 more. So this is kid 4 and 5.
That's great. That's a lot of kids.
It is a lot of kids. Now they're spread out in age. So it's 18, 12, 8, and then babies on the way. So
wow,
big spread. But anyhow,
exactly. This is crazy.
But back to your question about the difficulties. I think that the no one part is usually difficult. Sometimes I find the editing a little annoying if something happens during a show that's a pain to edit out. Most of the time that doesn't happen. So usually that's not a pain. Sometimes it's I don't feel like the interview is as good as it could be. Of the 47, I think 37 I am proud of, and I send someone the link, and maybe the other 10 I would lose the link. But I think that's the nature of an interview show.
Yeah.
It's just hard to know exactly what you're getting, especially when you don't know everyone that's coming on, and you're not positive how it's going to go.
Good challenges, but it seems like you meet them pretty well. So if I've got to let you go because we just crossed our hour mark a minute ago, but I really do appreciate you being here, and I'm always thrilled to have you and the work you're doing on Fun by Five, and as a longtime member of the Rails community. It's really neat to see where Rails has gone and how it's evolved from, this funny little thing that you could do with Ruby that, this guy David made to, something that's powering some of the biggest sites around on the internet. Daniel Bogan, who was on right here before this, kind of said that Zendesk is using Rails in one way or another. And, famously Twitter was or wasn't using Rails. Everything I build is Rails, including 5x5 CMS and everything, like all the tools that we use to power it, Sinatra and Rails. So it's it's a great community, and it's great that you're doing the show even on the weeks that it's not the most fun. So thanks for doing it, and thanks for being on the show today. I sure do appreciate it.
Well, thanks, Dan. Thanks, Hattie.
Take care. And then you're barely known, so don't forget, barely known on Twitter. Where else can people go to find out about you?
You know what? That's best. I like Twitter. Okay. So barely known on Twitter. I'm into this whole Periscope thing. So you can follow me on that. I think my kids are going to have fun with that. So I may do some interesting things with the kids this weekend.
Very cool. Take care of yourself. Thanks for being here.
See you, Dan.
Bye. Yeah, kids are going to love Periscope. They're going to run into the same problem that, what's the little ghost? WhatsApp? Is that the name of it?
Yes. No, Snapchat.
Snapchat.
Yep.
That's all about the porn and the college kids, right?
Yeah. I think now.
Do you think Periscope and Meerkat will go that way as well if they haven't already?
Possibly. I didn't even think about that. I think that now I've seen businesses and people that, have a lot of personal branding will be like, follow my Snapchat. Follow me on Snapchat today.
Justin Bieber.
Heinz will be like, read our Snapchat story today or whatever. Or watch it. It's very strange to me.
Is that
I don't
interesting
understand
to you?
that.
Does it appeal to you?
I don't follow anyone on Snapchat. I think my little sister, and that's it.
I mean, do you think that Snapchat is poised to be another social network the way that Facebook or Twitter have become? Because when Twitter first came out, Twitter was just about sort of like telling your friends where you were, and it was very basic, and it grew and grew and grew.
I think people.
Is that
I
what
think it will
Snapchat's
become
be?
that.
You think
Yeah.
it will?
Yeah.
And you're not on it. Like, what's wrong?
I don't know.
Yeah.
It's
How many
not-
followers do you have on Snapchat?
I don't know.
Because it's just for the naked stuff. We've talked about that.
You would think it was
But
just
Heinz,
for the
what kind of
naked.
naked stuff is Heinz doing?
It's
I don't want
not naked Heinz. No.
No.
No, they're like they'll. I'm trying to think of who's done one recently. Like
But see, I don't know. For me, video
it's
is
like a
way more
personal branding
compelling.
thing.
Like, I don't need another regular social network. I've got Twitter. I've got Facebook if I need it. Now I've got Periscope. Now I've got Meerkat. Building on top of Twitter, building on top of these existing platforms is interesting to me. I really don't want, and I've got Instagram as well. I just don't want yet another app and another community to manage and another, thing to sign up and another way to notify people.
and then connect all your accounts, and then
Yeah.
they'll post on every other of your accounts. I don't
Another
like
link
that.
to put on the website, another social network to remember to put on a business card
or remember a
maybe
login
not.
for it.
yeah, barely known. He just has his Twitter.
It's easy.
Done. And we're done. So thanks for tuning in today. Tomorrow, we have a new segment that involves foreign languages and foreign language speakers, quizzes, tests, and awards. So I don't want to spoil it, but we've got some great guests for you tomorrow. We'll be having the weekly wrap-up tomorrow, which should be pretty nice. And I appreciate all of you tuning in to this show today. New episode of the podcast method will be released later today, so if you've been looking forward to that, please check that out. That's on 5by5.tv/podcast method. And big announcement, tomorrow Grit comes back. Yay.
Yeah.
So you get to see Angry Dan again. And I would love it if you would consider calling into that show. We'd love to have the callers. So I'll be asking you guys on Twitter to call in. But thanks very much for tuning in today. You can go and download this show, of course, and find the show notes at both places, 5by5.tv/dbh/16 or danbenjamin.com/dbh/15. I'm just going to send them to Dan Benjamin from now
16.
on. 16, right. It would be the same on both places.
Yes.
I have too many websites, so just go to the Dan Benjamin one because that's where we're going to be adding some new cool features and stuff. And it doesn't matter where you use it. Somebody asked, doesn't matter if I subscribe at 5by5 or the other. It's the same. It's the same feed behind the scenes. So thanks, everyone, for being here, tuning in live at 10 a.m. Central, 11 Eastern, and 8 on the Pacific Coast. And we'll be back tomorrow at those times. Have a good one.